I love being alone. I really do, but it isn't easy. Lately, there's been this romanticization of solitude, and solitude is beautiful. It's empowering. But the work it takes to get to this place can be ugly. There's a lot of letting go, a lot of risks, and endless moments of discomfort that no one really prepares you for. Let me tell you my story. It's a lonely one. The loneliest part came before the solitude, actually. I didn't even know solitude was a thing back then. I was young, naive, and that was okay. But my perspective on people who were alone was harsh. I saw loners as rejections. This was high school. I was awkward and quiet, and I hid behind my friends for social acceptance. As long as I was with someone, I felt worthy. But if you were alone, I assumed it meant no one wanted to be around you. It felt like a hole that would be really hard to climb out of. A few years later, I found myself in that hole. College came, and I didn't know how to talk to people without someone familiar beside me. I became the person I used to judge. I fell into a pit of loneliness, and I looked like a loser, because this was college, and everyone had a friend group. Being alone didn't feel peaceful. It felt humiliating. I felt like everyone noticed, and I cared about that deeply. I just wanted to fit in. I wanted to seem normal. I wanted to be like everyone else. Looking back, I wonder if that was the problem. I wanted to be like someone else. But who was I? And even if I did have a friend group, who was I when they weren't around? I didn't think I'd know. At the time, it didn't feel like I had another option. I just had to accept where I was. It took time. For a while, I felt uncomfortable in my own skin around others. I was always finding ways to occupy myself when I was alone. I fidgeted with my hands. I avoided eye contact. I felt embarrassed just existing. Over and over again, I was forced to sit with myself. And that's when you start realizing things you don't want to admit, like how boring you might feel to yourself. You start wondering why you don't even like being with yourself. You start analyzing everything. And when you're unhappy, especially with who you are, it's easy to believe you're unworthy, that you're doing something wrong. I think if many of us actually sat with ourselves long enough, without distractions, we'd be asking some really dark questions. But what if that's needed? It's so easy to get lost in other people that we forget who we actually are and what we want out of life. For me, this became an opportunity to align with myself. It got easier when I stopped fighting the loneliness and started leaning into it. I went somewhere quieter, somewhere where being alone felt natural, because not many people were there to begin with. Being around nature helped. I slowly started noticing life, really noticing it. I hadn't realized how beautiful everything was. My life began to transform. It moved slower. It became quieter. But this time, the silence didn't scare me. I felt okay in that. I started enjoying myself. For the first time, something felt aligned. I think that's what helped most. Being in an environment that matched my personality. But it took many moments of discomfort to figure that out. Still, I was finally learning who I was. The dark reflections turned into courage. I wanted answers. I wanted to understand the point of all this, life, and what I was meant to do with it. Over the years, being alone became easier. I wasn't completely isolated. I lived with family. I saw old friends once a while. Time helped me grow comfortable with my own company. But what truly changed everything was discovering who I was and what I wanted. Once I started going after those things, my life felt more satisfying. Everything around me felt aligned. There was less room for things, and even people, that didn't matter to me. And once you start enjoying your own company, the desperation to be around people all the time fades away. That's when I realized I wasn't living in loneliness anymore. I was living in solitude, not a lack, but a fullness. I found myself. It took a long time, but it was worth it. Being alone is something that you gotta just get used to. It takes time. It's not something that you can achieve overnight or even in a month. For me, I've been alone since I started college. Me and my friends split, so I had to learn how to adjust to not really being around anyone, and I was too shy to make new friends. But the hard part came to socializing, like I was young, I still am, but I felt like I had to like live my life in some way. And I think it's really hard to just go out and do what you want without having someone by your side, right? There's something really strange and discomforting about being seen in public in crowds of people by yourself. There's something uneasy about it. It's like it doesn't come naturally to most of us. It certainly didn't start out like that for me. I remember the first time I did something alone. I went to a movie by myself. It just so happens as you get older, you and your friends, you have your own responsibilities. So, our schedules don't line up, but you have to find a way to continue living your life, to continue doing the things that you really want to do. It's not about waiting for other people to join you in your own journey. I think there's a lot of beauty that you can discover when you do decide to do these things. So I went to see this movie, and I enjoyed it. It felt a little bit weird at first. I don't remember too much, but I could imagine being a little bit uncomfortable sitting in a theater with other people, but I ended up being alone in my own corner. But I enjoyed the movie. I was able to just be comfortable, just be myself, not have to perform for like a friend or something like that, to make conversation, to entertain them in some way. And slowly over time, I learned to kind of sit in my own silence or sit with my thoughts. I also think that's one of the hardest things about being alone, especially starting out. If it's something that you're kind of forced to do in a way, whether maybe you moved abroad and you don't have anyone around you, you moved out, or maybe you lost friends and you kind of find yourself alone. You start to reflect. You reflect on who you are today. Do you know who you are today? What makes you you? Who are you when your friends are not around or when your partner is not around? I think it's important to know who you are, to have a sort of identity, to have things in your life that you can come back to, things that ground you and only you, not depending on other people to do that for you. That you can do it yourself. Being alone and facing those thoughts brings a lot of discomfort. There's going to be things that come up that you're not happy about with yourself. Maybe you discover you are a little bit lonely. You start to reflect on the decisions you've made in your life so far, and there's probably going to be a few that you're not very happy with, but by being by yourself and actually taking the time to think, not distract yourself by scrolling on your phone or getting lost in consumerism, like shopping, that it's just about sitting there and figuring yourself out. That's how it starts. If you're going to find the answers to these bigger questions that are going to help you in life, it starts by looking within, and it's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable. And so over the years, I faced those discomforting questions, whether I was happy with myself, did I even like myself, did I love myself? No, I did not. And I started making those changes, getting the confidence to actually enjoy being in my skin, like who I see in the mirror, and be proud of the things that I'm working towards and that I have accomplished so far. By being alone, or learning how to be alone, you start to master your own independence. I think it's really empowering to be able to do whatever you want in life without feeling worried or fearful of doing it by yourself, like not needing someone to be there for you or someone to push you to do this thing. It's about wanting to do something and doing it, going after it. And I think it gives you the ability to do whatever you want in life, that you can truly achieve anything. And I've been doing that by myself the last few years, to the point where I've traveled to different countries all by myself in foreign languages that I don't know of, and I got out of it, and I had a good experience too. I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't start by going to the movies alone. Just something so simple like that. I think learning how to do this, if it is something that you do want to do, it's going to take a lot of time. It's probably going to take years, and it's going to start small, and then it's going to grow to whatever you're comfortable with. I don't think there's even a need to go big and beyond. I think it's just about, at the end of the day, you feel good being alone in your room or being alone with your thoughts, that you feel comfortable eating out by yourself at the table. There's nothing loserish or embarrassing or shameful about that. If anything, it's quite a peaceful experience to do something for yourself, to enjoy your own company, because your presence, your being is just as valuable and worthwhile as your friends or as your partners or your families. It's about finding appreciation for yourself, beauty for who you are, because you are absolutely beautiful. And I would hope that maybe anybody out there could discover that in themselves, to see just how great of a person they are. I think also by being alone, it gives the opportunity to align to yourself, to your true self, to figure out who you are, discover the things that make you happy without it being clouded by other people's interests or judgments. I also want to point out that you can master being alone or have your alone time, have your solitude while still having these beautiful connections in your life. It's not about isolating yourself. I think having a balance between the two is really important, but people shouldn't lose themselves in other people and the people around them. I believe as humans, we are meant for community. I don't think it's wrong to desire connection, to desire partnership in your life. I think by being alone and discovering just how peaceful and easy it can be over time, that you start to become more selective with the people that become part of your life. I think there's value in communicating with everyone around you. There's different kinds of people and different things that you can learn, but then becoming selective with who you get to see, who becomes part of your life. And so I think by having those two things, by mastering your own independence and becoming selective with the people in your life, you create a more valuable, high quality life. You become happy with yourself and your experience here as a human.